interesting. Dr. Jordan Peterson, who I look up to generally, I think he's very thoughtful. He went along with the vaccination, and he was actually pretty positive about it until he flew back to Canada and he had to go through all this testing and quarantining. And he did a tweet where he said, I did what you wanted. I gave you what you wanted, and you won't let me go. You said I would be free. I regret it. So it's like he made a bargain with the devil. He didn't really want to get vaxxed, but he did it to be a compliant, good citizen. And he felt like he was hoodwinked. He felt like, well, you said I would be free now. I thought that was very interesting. I was a little surprised with how compliant he was to begin with, but I think that his good faith was thrown back in his face. It's an interesting question. I want to ask you about the enforcement, though, because I'm looking at Quebec in particular. Looks like they're going back to the darkest days. Like they're talking about curfews again and crazy laws. And I don't know if they're going to cancel Christmas. I read your latest article on SpencerFernando.com, and you were talking about this. Can you give us a bit of news of what they're doing there? Of course, we got our great reporters on the ground, Ezra Levant and team. But what are the statements so far that Quebec's going to do?
Well, basically, they're going back, almost to the start, right? As if nothing had happened in the preceding, I guess, year and 9 months, 10 months at this point. And so I think it's bars closing, restaurant capacity limits, theaters closing, gyms closing, schools closing. So basically, most of the closures that happened at the very beginning of the pandemic are happening again. And then, I read a report in their musing about, we're not going to restrict, private home gatherings any more than we already have, but everything remains on the table. So, I mean, again, this changes day to day. And it seems every province tries to follow the harshest province, right? So Quebec will do something, then Ontario will do the same thing, and then other provinces will follow, right? So are they following the science, or are they just following whichever politician seems the harshest on cracking down on people? Yeah. And so I think, it's this whole issue is with making things mandatory and taking away people's choices. It's really made the debate a lot more aggressive than it should be. Look, I've gotten 2 vaccinations, but I haven't gotten the vaccine card because just philosophically, I feel I shouldn't have more freedom than someone else who chooses not to get vaccinated, right? And so I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to start saying, maybe as Jordan Peterson did, look, I did what I was told, and now they move the goalposts again, right? And if that happens enough, I think you've got to see people start saying, this only ends when people stop listening to what the politicians tell them. There's no other way it really ends.
That's very principled of you to take the jab yourself, personal health decision. For whatever your reasons are, they're your reasons, and it's not for anyone else to question. But for you to stand in solidarity with those who don't, I'm deeply impressed by that. It's funny because I was listening as you listed the things in Quebec that are being shut down again, gyms, restaurants, things like that. Those are things that unvaxxed people were generally barred from because they didn't have that vaccine passport. So ironically, the people that these new lockdowns are targeting are not the unvaxxed who are already marginalized in society, already segregated. They're actually targeting the good boys and girls who signed up for the Vax Passport and said, I'm going to be on team public health. And those are the folks being punished again. I just wonder how many will have that buyer's remorse that Jordan Peterson did, or how many will say, like the Nigerian scam victim, well, no, you see, it's just 2 more weeks. It's just till we get through this new variant. That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.